Hey guys, it's Sam. Welcome back to my channel. So today I thought it would be really fun to film a completely kind of different, hopefully original video for you guys. I personally have never seen another video exactly like this, although I'm sure they exist out there, because every single time that I think that I've got this brilliant original idea, somebody else comes along and they do it, or like somebody else has already done it and I just never found it. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this is kind of a unique thing for you guys to watch. If you guys have been here for like any length of time, then you will know that I have, okay, so in terms of like a skin type, I have very dry skin. And I kind of like a no makeup, not a no makeup look, but more of like a glowy, dewy kind of, like wet kind of looking makeup. I'm not a big fan of being completely matte. And recently, I sort of came to this conclusion that maybe the best way for me to achieve like a not matte kind of a look was to incorporate more liquid and cream products into my beauty routine. So today I am going to try and do a whole look using no powder products. Now, some of you guys might be out there being like, what? That's really easy. I could do that no problem. And in some aspects, I completely agree with you, because when I was pulling products for this, some of it's really easy. Like, I use liquid foundation every freaking day. I use liquid concealer. I use liquid primers. I use either a felt tip or a gel liner, mascara, lipstick. It's none of it's powder. But then it's more of like getting to the setting part of your makeup, like the setting powders, and the eyeshadows are normally powders and all of that kind of stuff. So that's where this is going to get a little tricky. I've never done this before. I've never practiced this before. So I'm really interested to see what kind of a look we end up achieving. Normally when I come on these like videos, I've already like primed my face or put something on my face. But this time I have done absolutely nothing, because I wanted you guys to see from start to finish that I am using no powder products whatsoever. So I might have to skip some steps in my normal routine, but we're going to do our very best. So first things first, we are going to go in with some primer. So for this, I was kind of going a little bit back and forth deciding what kind of primer I wanted to use. But like I said, I am very dry, so I'm going to use a hydrating primer. Now, this is not necessarily marketed as a hydrating primer, but I do find it very fluid and very refreshing. So this is the Becca First Light Priming Filter Instant Complexion Refresh. Oh, maybe it is marketed as a hydrating one. I don't know. It doesn't say hydrating primer, but like if you kind of look at the, you guys have seen this a million times. I don't know why I'm pretending like you haven't. It's a very like fluid, light kind of a consistency. It feels so freaking good. I really like that. And it just sort of like almost has this like brightening effect on your complexion. It soaks into the skin really beautifully. It, like right now, it's a little tacky, but that's because I just put it on. If you've got oily skin, I don't think that it would like react funny with oil, but having said that, I don't know 100% because I don't have oily skin. So I couldn't be 100% sure, but I would say that. And the next product I'm going to try is actually a product I just picked up literally yesterday. But it is like a cream kind of a product, so we're going to go with that. Also, I have in this video included both liquid and cream and like gel products, because if I didn't, this would be really hard. So the product I'm talking about is the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer. That's nice. So all of the product is in the lid. Sweet. How do I get that out? No? Okay. That's actually really funny. It's like, that's okay. It's supposed to come out eventually, right? It's not a big deal. It's cream. So I wasn't going to take this much, because normally when I do use like smoothing or pore filling kind of primers, I only really put them in my problem area. So I'm talking about like in, I guess, my T-zone, but more so in this part of my T-zone, and definitely all over and around my nose, because I do have some pretty bad pores there. I don't know if you guys can see. I am completely fresh-faced right now, so maybe you can. Like I said, I've never tried this before. It does feel a little bit greasy. Again, that's not a big deal for my skin type, but like, I don't know how this would work with others. I don't know how this is going to react with foundation. I just don't know. And the other thing I am going to do really quickly, just to add a little extra hydration, and I used to do this all the time, but I kind of got away with it. I've got some MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus. This is the coconut scent. This particular one came out, it's probably really old by now, but I don't know. This stuff just doesn't seem to go bad on me. This one came out with the Fruity Juicy collection, so sometimes I just like to like, in between steps of makeup, just spray a little bit on, because what it's going to do is it's going to make you super hydrated. It's going to give you a little bit of bounce in your skin. The more product that you put on and build up, especially for us girls with more dry skin or guys with dry skin, you know, the more that you kind of layer on, the more bouncy and springy and like refreshed you're going to feel. So a lot of times when I do my makeup, I will start with just a plain moisturizer, like even a Cetaphil, or I have a couple Glam Glow moisturizers that I like to use. Into that, I would put some, maybe some pore filler, but I do find that they take some of the moisture away. Definitely some strobing cream or something like that. The only reason I'm not going to screw around with strobing cream today is because of my foundation plans. So for me, I normally mix foundations together. So for today, what I thought I would do, because I am going for a more dewy, light kind of a look, I thought it would be cool to use this Stay Naked foundation. I haven't used this in a while. Like, I did a whole review on this for you guys when I first got it. I am in the shade 41NN. So for neutral tone, neutral underbase, and neutral undertone. So I'm just taking some of that. This is just like a lid of a tin. I clean it out kind of between uses. And another new product that I got is this Dior Backstage Face and Body Glow. So this is like this, kind of reminds me of the bottle for face and body. It's really fluid. It's very, very shimmery, and I like to take stuff like this and mix it in with my foundations, especially my more matte ones, just to give them a little glow. So I'm not going to put too much because this stuff is super, super glowy. Sorry, drop the lid. And I'm just going to leave it here. Normally, I would also add in some liquid bronzer, but because I'm planning on using it later in the video, I don't want to get like too ahead of myself with it. So for a brush today, I'm going to be using my Too Faced Mr. Perfect foundation brush. It's just like this angled brush. And I'm just going to kind of like swirl that together, mix that together a bit, and then just start kind of brushing that on. I know a lot of people like to use beauty blenders for this. I'm not a big fan. What I will do sometimes though, for some more streaky foundations, is I will start by applying it with a brush, and from there I will sort of tap it out with a beauty blender. I just prefer brushes. I find that they soak up less of the product. They distribute it for me a little more evenly. I have a little bit more control over exactly where it goes. It's just a personal preference. You know, everybody's a little different with how they do their makeup. I am glad I didn't add any liquid bronzer to this because it is a bit darker than I actually remember it being. I am going to need a little bit more. So put a little bit more in that tin. I'm not going to add more of that Dior stuff, but easily could. And I'm just making sure that that kind of goes everywhere. I think the thing that I am most worried about when it comes to this video is in terms of like setting my foundation and my concealer, just because normally at that point I would use setting powder, you know, or some kind of face powder to get that all set in nicely. But obviously today I can't do that for this video, so we're going to be kind of playing around a little bit there. So I would say that that is foundation done. Now I'm going to go in with some concealer. Again, this was a very, very easy thing for me to choose how to do. So I'm going to take a little bit of, this is this NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, but it is a cream. So I feel okay using that. So this one I am going to take on my beauty blender, and I'm just going to kind of pat it. Now I wear the shade Light to Vanilla, if I didn't tell you already. So it's just going to kind of also provide a little brightening effect, especially underneath the eyes here. When I put that down, I am going to load up another concealer, a little bit more full coverage in a minute. This is just kind of going on some of my problem areas. So for me, my problem areas tend to be, of course, under my eyes. I have serious, serious bags. I don't sleep like a normal human being. A lot of that has to do with my job, but I just don't sleep like normal, and I sleep like longer than anybody else I know. Like when I'm asleep, it's really hard to wake me up. And then I have a really bad problem area along my chin. That seems to be where all my breakouts are focused. And sometimes I do get them up along my forehead just from like, you know, I used to get them from hockey when I played that because your helmet sits there. Now I kind of get them from work from my hard hat. So, you know, just one of those things. So I was debating whether I was going to go with my original Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer or my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. I think I am going to go with the Urban Decay one. It's a little bit darker, which will go a little bit better with the color. I also have the new Stay Naked one. I just thought I would use this one. I don't even know if it's still available. So if you are trying to replicate this look, the new Urban Decay Stay Naked is a really, really good option as well. So I'm just placing this in strategic areas. This is the shade Light Neutral. And while that kind of like not soaks in, but like tacks down a little bit, because I find once it tacks down, it evens out a little bit better and you're not so much wiping the product away as pressing it in. While that does that, I'm going to go in and do my eyebrows. So for those, I have this MAC Shape and Shade Brow Tint in Fling. Now one side is a powder, but the other side is like a felt tip pen. So I'm just going to use that to kind of draw, not even draw my eyebrows on, because my eyebrows are there, you know. I feel quite fortunate because there was that phase in beauty where the thing was those really, really pencil thin eyebrows. I wasn't into makeup then, and I never really liked that look. I've never had my eyebrows professionally waxed, tweezed, anything. I've always kind of just taken care of it myself. And now I got really lucky because full natural brows are back in style. So I got really, really lucky in that kind of a sense. If I'm looking off this way, it is because I have a mirror. This is one of those things that like I can't so much do into the camera without really overdrawing my eyebrows. My eyebrows don't match also, just as an FYI, if you notice it, I'm very aware that this one is like more sparse. I just drew on my face. I shouldn't do that into the mirror. Into the camera, excuse me. Because that is one thing about having a YouTube channel is people really like to point out your flaws. It's great. I'm just saying. Anyway, I am going to take the end of this precisely my brow. I'm not going to use the pencil. I'm just going to use it to kind of like guide some of the eyebrows back in the direction they came. And to finish filling in my eyebrows, this is a cream gel brow color with brush. This is the Benefit KaBrow. I'm in shade 2. So I'm going to use a little bit of this just to fill it out a little bit more. This is a little like sample one that came in, I don't know, like a Top Box or an Ipsy or something. I do have a full size of it as well because I really, really like it. Just haven't broken into it yet, although it's probably soon time to, because this is getting kind of dried out. Okay, so I would say eyebrows are done. Sometimes I set my brows with like a brow gel, but most of the time I don't even bother, so we're not going to bother today. Going back in with that beauty blender and just in a like patting kind of a motion. Now I'm going quite quickly, but you could go slower, whatever floats your boat. I am patting in that concealer that I laid down earlier. Now I don't know how some beauty gurus do it. Maybe their bags aren't as big as mine, but like when they put concealer on, it's like every flaw in their face disappears. Mine will cover the dark circles, but like for me, it's like you can still see these puffy bags under my eyes. Maybe I should be using those like gel under eye masks. I don't know. If somebody knows how to fix that, let me know, because no matter what I try, they're always like super puffy. This is the stage at which I would normally set my face with powder, but since we don't have powder today, we're going to go back in with a little bit more of this. So I'm going to let that dry down. And when it's dry, we're going to keep going. Alright, so my face has dried down a little bit. Now, one thing I did think about while I was kind of like gone, letting it dry down, is that a lot of the reason that I feel the need to set cream makeup with like a setting powder is because you're putting a powder on afterwards, and if you get to the cream and mix it with the powder too soon, it turns like kind of muddy and cakey, and that's when you get that sort of cakey look. But I guess because we're not using a powder, this should be okay. So for a bronzer today, I am going in with my NARS Laguna liquid bronzer. Honestly, yesterday when I was out, I was trying to hunt down, like, I know Benefit used to make like the Hula bronzer in a liquid form, but I couldn't find it anywhere, so I don't know if they discontinued it. I'm just picking it up with like another flat kind of foundation brush, and I just put it on the back of my hand and I pick some up, and then you guys can see where I kind of like brush some of the excess off. So this is going to be interesting because normally I throw bronzer over my entire face, but I feel like that would look weird here. So we're going to just kind of concentrate outside on the outer kind of areas of the face. I'm also going to go down like in here where I guess you would contour. I don't contour normally because I suck at it, but today I feel like cream products are slightly more forgiving. I don't know why I think that is. You would think it'd actually be the opposite, like that I would be like, oh, cream products are so not forgiving, but like I just find that they blend out really, really nicely. I don't know. It's interesting. So like I said, normally like I would have filled in like all here with bronzer, but I'm trying not to do that right now, although I'm going to kind of tap just a tiny bit in. And when I say a tiny bit, I mean like if there happens to be any left on my brush, it might settle on my face, but really I don't think there is any. So I'm going to tap that out right there. My hand is really dark from where the bronzer was, so I'll have to wipe that off later. So anything else I do if my hand kind of looks really splotchy, it's just because that's where the bronzer was. For a blush, I do have a few options because, like I said, I started getting to this point where I started thinking that cream and liquid blushes would be my best option. So just as like a kind of option for you guys in case you are looking at getting something, I have this MAC Casual Color Lip and Cheek Color. This is in For Your Amusement. I also have the NARS Orgasm Liquid Blush. And I have the Kaja, what is this called? I don't know what this is called. It's like this blush that has like a sponge, and it's like a, like one of these ones. But I actually think I'm going to use the MAC one because I used to really, really like this brush. But it's not a brush, it's a blush. Sorry about that. I used to really, really like this blush. I think it's like a beautiful, beautiful color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Natasha Denona 19 brush, and I'm just going to like tap it in there a little bit, and then it's kind of going to be like a stippling motion on. Now it comes out really, really pinky bright. I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. So then I'm just going to take that beauty blender and kind of like try and blend it out a little bit. See, I wish you guys could see. I'll try and get real close here. Do you guys see how much pink is coming on there? Right? It looks a little overwhelming, but then if you kind of like take the time and work it out, it kind of just gives you like this beautiful flush. It's a little kind of glossy action going on. And what I really like about it is I find that it doesn't particularly like show imperfections of skin. It doesn't settle into pores weirdly, which is really nice. Now, I did want a little bit deeper of a blush shade, which is really weird for me. So I am actually going to take a little bit of the NARS Orgasm Liquid Blush. Just like the tiniest amount. I just kind of want to see what this does. I'm going to pick up that same brush and just sort of like, yeah, it just sort of adds to it a little bit, makes it a little bit more pinky, which is kind of nice. I like it. I think that if you were looking for a more subtle blush color, you would want to go with like one of the MAC cheek colors. I think you could also get cream color bases, might be what they're called now, in that same formula. But if you were looking for something with a little more oomph, maybe a liquid blush is the way to go. So we have blushed, we have bronzed. I'm pretty happy so far. Now we get into highlighters. This was really easy for me because I've always been a really big fan of liquid highlighters and cream highlighters. I've got a crap ton of them. I pulled out a bunch because, again, what I like to do is be like, this is what I'm doing, but here's some other options for you guys. Now, unfortunately, all of the ones I'm going to show you are high end. So if you're looking for a drugstore option, I'm pretty sure every piece of makeup I'm using in this video is high end. So maybe what I'll try and do in the future is see if I can do a drugstore version of this, if that's something you guys are interested in. But in terms of high end, there's a ton of options. For kind of more liquidy blushes, we have the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Liquid. This is in Champagne Pop. I know they make a few different colors of this. I have this Anastasia Beverly Hills Liquid Glow. This is in the shade Perla. Again, I have another NARS Orgasm. This is the highlighter. I hope you guys can kind of see what that looks like. Then I have this they don't make anymore. This is MAC Luster Drops in Pink Rebel. Every once in a while they come out with them in a limited edition collection, but it's very rare. And then I have a bunch of like these stick highlighters. So I have Benefit What's Up. I have an Hourglass. This is a Vanish Gold Flash highlighting stick. Too Faced comes out with these all the time for different limited edition collections. I have the Candy Glow Luminizer from the I Want Candy collection. They came out with some in the Tutti Frutti collection. And then NARS makes this. This is called the Multiple, and it's in Copacabana. So what I think I want to do is play it a little bit of both ways. So I'm going to be using my Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector to do kind of like highlighting on my cheeks. And then I think we're going to use the Hourglass Vanish stick highlighter on like our nose and our cupid's bow. The sun is coming out, so now my lighting is going to change, which is freaking fantastic. So again, I probably shouldn't use the same brush for this, but I found that this is the brush that works the best. So I'm just going to give it a really quick like swirl in my color switch, and I'm going to put some of this Becca, whatever this is, just on my hand, just like that. It is so, so stunning. And then I'm going to pick it up, get a little bit of the excess off, so it's only in like a small area. And then I'm just going to carry that up the, what's nice about the sun coming out is you can really see that highlight. I got a little high with it, but I'm just going to kind of carry it up my cheekbone and just sort of like blend it out, blend it into the blush color a little bit. I'm hoping you guys can see a little bit more of that blush now that the sun has decided to show its face. It was really sunny out this morning. I went to yoga for my first time ever. And oh my goodness, it was exhausting. For some reason, I thought it would be a really good idea to do hot yoga for my first experience. Maybe don't do that if you get the opportunity. But like, I don't like to work out. I don't like to go to the gym. I don't really like doing anything physically active. And I'm just going to put a little bit up here. Normally I wouldn't, but I've got some extra. And I just found it very, very like challenging, which was really nice. I didn't know if it would. Like, I knew I wanted to try yoga, but you kind of hear two sides of it. You hear it's just like stretching and this and that. It's pretty easy. And then you hear the don't do it. You're going to be so sore, this and that. I found that I had a really hard time. I've got really bad shoulders. I think I've mentioned it to you before. So whenever it took like a pose where like you were like hanging in the air with like one foot up in the air. I can't remember the names of any of these poses. It's like you're down in warrior pose and then you stick your leg up in the air and then you only hold on with one hand. And it's like, oh my God, I thought my arms were going to fall off. And I sweat so, so much, but I enjoyed it so much. And I think it's going to be like a really, really nice activity for me to do to increase some flexibility, that kind of thing. So this is what this looks like. And I'm just going to be putting it. I really like the shape of it because it's in a triangle. It's very, very easy to get a nice straight line. Whereas like some of the round ones, you kind of have to use the edges. This one's kind of really nice for it. And you guys can see how intense that highlight is. Just like that. Now, one thing I'm going to try really quickly here, and this is probably like the worst idea I've ever had in my life, and that is I'm going to try and contour my nose with a little bit of the Laguna liquid bronzer, and it's going to be, oh, bad. That popped somewhere. I'll get it later. And I'm just going to like try. Just try. I normally wouldn't bother. I'm just going to use my finger to blend it out. I'm just using a MAC 195 brush. This is a really old brush for me. It was like my OG concealer brush when I was in high school, which was like 15 years ago. Anyway, I normally don't contour, but my nose was looking a little shifty. So now that that is all done, I would say my face is done. I'm just going to take 2 seconds and try and pick up that spill, and then we will continue on with our eyes. Alright, sorry about that. I had to clean up a crisis because I kind of got my liquid bronzer on the carpet, and the carpet is beige. And that would have gone really, really poorly if I couldn't have gotten it out of the carpet. Tom would not have been impressed with me. So on to the eyes. This was another very difficult section of this video to do. First thing that's easy, we're just going to use the old favorite Painterly Paint Pot. This is a cream eyeshadow base. Honestly, I use one that is got a pinky undertone to it. There is also one with a yellow undertone. It is in soft ochre. There's another one called Bear Study that would work really well as well for me, I think. Now, if you want to, they have a couple of like colors of these. So there's like a bronze shimmery one. There's a couple silver ones in case you just want to like put that on and go about your day for a really, really quick makeup look. In terms of shadow, I've only got a couple options here. So first thing I have one, count them, one of these Tarte, these aren't Tarte, Too Faced liquid glitter eyeshadow. This one is in Honey Please. It's very, very sparkly, very glittery. I have got this Ciate Eye Luster cream eyeshadow. I don't even know what color this in, but again, super glittery, super sparkly. I've got one MAC Dazzleshadow liquid. Again, very, very sparkly. And then I thankfully have these Huda Beauty matte and metal melted shadows. And thank goodness for this, or we would only have glitter on our eyelids. So I have 3 shades. So I have Double Pump Latte and Drop Top. That's this one. I have got Minted and Dinero, which is the more bluey one. And then I've got Limelight and Gold Chains, which is like this goldy kind of color. So for sure, we're going to be playing with the matte and metal double pump latte. I think I'm going to do a combination of this one and like a little bit of the blue one in just some key strategic areas. Now, if I recall using these correctly, and I may not, you kind of put them on with the brush and then you like with the applicator and then you blend them out with a regular eyeshadow brush. These are just absolutely stunning. So I'm just going to put a bunch kind of like in the outer, can you guys see that? The outer part of my lid. And then I'm just taking like a fluffy, fluffy brush and I'm just sort of blending it. Just like that. Maybe we'll use some of the yellow too. I don't know. Maybe I'll just use a ton of them. So it's this color. I need darker colors. These are really nice. And every time I ever go to Sephora, they've only ever got like 2 of them in stock because I think they are very, very popular. But actually when I was there yesterday, they had all the colors and I looked at them for like a hot second, was like, I should buy more of those. And then I walked away from them because I was trying to behave myself. But yeah, I think with these, less is more. Start out, oh my, like I said, I'm just going to get my color switch in here, take some of the excess off. Start out light with just a little product and then you can build it up. They're very, very buildable and they blend out almost into like a powdery kind of a formula. So I am going to take, because I really like to keep the blue on the lower part of my eye and maybe the inner corner. So I'm going to take a little bit of the Limelight color. I've never worn this color before and I'm just going to, holy Moses. Well, we're going to have fun with this color. This color is freaking awesome. I've never played with this color before. Well, that ended up all over the lid in a way I didn't really intend. So that looks kind of cool though. Kind of like a nice gradient. I tried to use like a big fluffy brush, so it turns out that like a brush more like this where it's fluffy but also kind of dense seems to be the best bet. So I've got a couple more like that. Just use those. Oh, what is that? Just some fluff. Just use it like that. I really like this. And I think too that like, I have a feeling that if you wanted it to be this vibrant, other than building it up, maybe if you didn't blend it out so much, it would stay a little bit crazier. That looks really cool. I wasn't expecting to like that. When I first put it on, I was kind of in shock. It's real bright. But I said this in my, Jeffree Star video, my Thirsty video, that I wanted to try and like get a little bit more bold with my eyeshadows because I have a ton of like fun, colorful eyeshadow palettes and like I never use them and I feel like bad about it almost because it's like not like bad in a sense that I'm like, oh, they don't get used, like da da da, but it's like, well, why do you keep them if you're only ever gonna use like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like neutral eyeshadows. What's the point of that? Okay, this is where this is gonna get real tricky because I want some of this blue like underneath my eye, but I don't want a ton. So rather than put it straight on, I'm gonna put it on the brush instead and use that to kind of like blend it out. Did you guys see that? It's just like a little bit, and again, it's so buildable. There we go. Right? So I can get a little bit more, a little bit less. That's pretty much exactly what I had intended to do. I'm really glad that what I didn't try was to put it straight on to my eyelid and blend it. So I think that maybe if you guys were looking for like a subtler yellow, like if you use the yellow and you're like, oh, that's a little too much, I need it to be a little less, you could easily pick it up on one of these and kind of like tap it on or whatever like that really lightly. So let's go to the flip sides of these and get some glitter rocking. So they're kind of like metallic, and then I've got the Tarte, not the Tarte, it's not Tarte, Too Faced one, and the MAC one that are more straight glitter. So I am actually going to try to use the MAC one. I just sort of want to see, I've had this for a long time and I've never really played with it. It has a doe foot as well. I'm just going to start kind of like in and pull it out because I don't want to cover all of the yellow. Just sort of like that. I kind of like that. Man, doing a look with only liquid shadows is really, really hard. Like, I've used all of these, not this, but like I've used the Huda Beauty ones before, but I've always had like some kind of a base down before I got into it. I'm gonna go in with this gold on the outside because I just think that would be really pretty. And it's light enough that it's not going to take away from the yellow, but it's going to kind of combine the two glitters together, just like that. Do you guys see that? These are really, really nice. It's like really fine glitter, metal, whatever you want to call it. It's really pretty. I think they work really, really well. And just for some fun, let's take that blue glitter and we're going to use that as kind of like an inner corner color. Again, I gotta be a little careful here because I could poke myself in the eye. Now, one thing that is really cool about these is you don't get any fallout. So if you find yourself a victim of fallout all the time, maybe try some liquid shadows because fallout doesn't really exist with them. So that is going to be the eyeshadow. In terms of an eyeliner, I've got a couple. Again, I have a MAC gel liner. This is in Black Track. They're called Fluid Line. And I also have a Fenty Longwear liquid eyeliner in Flyliner. So we're going to use that. Here comes the stupid faces, and I spit on myself. That's great. Now, I actually do find that I have more control with, there we go, the gel liner and the brush for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I have more control over the amount of product on the brush. Could be a couple things, but this is going okay for me. I say really reluctantly because that's normally the point at which I screw it up. I was originally trying to get like a thin line and that didn't work. So now I'm just trying to get a vaguely even kind of a line. And it ain't happening for me, but whatever. Oh. 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 Oh, geez. Alright, well, whatever. I think I'm done going out for today, so it's okay that it's a little funky, but there is that. Now we're just going to finish up with some mascara. So in true Sam fashion, I always like to take one of these kind of brushes. This happens to be Benefit Roller Lash. MAC makes a version of it. It's called Upward Lash. It's just a small kind of rubberized brush, and what it'll do is it'll like lengthen and separate your eyelashes. Also makes it really easy to do the lower lashes if you're like me and like you miss a lot of the time with a bigger wand. What are you guys doing the rest of the day? I'm planning on wrapping Christmas presents and that's about it. And then I'm going to take my Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, and this is a volumizing mascara, so it'll take the lashes that we've already like pulled up and out, and it'll just pop them up a little bit more. At this point, too, if I really felt like it, I could put fake lashes on, but we all know I struggle with that, so it ain't happening. I might try and film, like, a New Year's kind of a look. I normally don't bother, but I might, like, do a ordinary kind of glam version for the everyday gal. Hopefully something easy that, like, anybody could follow along with. And then I'm gonna do maybe something a little bit more crazy and out there. This is just MAC Prep and Prime Lip. It's kind of like a lip balm. It's just gonna get my lips all ready. I should have put it on earlier, to be completely honest. I dropped the ball again. For a lipstick, I had already chosen this Dose of Colors liquid lipstick. This is in Nude Mood. I pulled a couple. Now I can only find one. There we go. I pulled out a couple of MAC Pro Longwear lip liners, and the reason I picked these ones is because they are slightly more gel textured than other ones, so I consider them more like a gel than a powder, even though I don't think a pencil is a powder. So I've got this one. This is nice and spicy. This could be really difficult because I just put that Prep and Prime on, and it makes these slip a little bit. Okay, so I did fill that onto my entire lip. Reason being that if you're me, my lips wear very, very easily when I'm drinking and or eating. And not that I'm planning on going anywhere, but because I do want this to be a very wearable look, something you guys can use. I just kind of want to show all steps of how I keep my lips looking as best as they can for as long as they can. And that is by lining my entire lip. And it also means that if you happen to have a liquid lipstick that's a little bit less opaque, maybe it takes a couple coats, you won't have to do as many coats because you already have color on your lips. So for a final thing, we are going to set our face one more time. Let's just use the MAC Prep and Prime again because I have it on hand. I'm going to give it a spritz. Oh, bleh. I was going to say refreshing, but like it kind of went in my mouth and it wasn't that great. So that is it. That is going to be my full face full of no powder makeup. I'm really proud of myself that I was actually able to pull this off because in my head I was like, how are you going to do that? Use powder literally every single day. But I like it. I feel like my face looks very like fresh and light. I feel like there's no heaviness. I can't feel that I'm wearing makeup. I don't know if any of you guys feel that way, that sometimes like your face feels like really tight because you've got a lot of makeup on, or feels really dry because you have a lot of powder on. In terms of my eyes, I do like them a lot, but of course these come in so many colors. I think there's like 8 or 9 colors, and a lot of them are more neutral than these ones. Like obviously this like kind of coffee colored one, it is neutral, but like the yellow one and the blue one are a little bit on the more out there side. They have a really beautiful like pink. They've got some like darker, almost like mauve kind of colors. There's tons of colors in that. And not that I'm 100% aware, but I'm sure that there is a drugstore brand out there that either makes a liquid eyeshadow or definitely cream eyeshadows. I just don't happen to have any. So there's so many ways that you could adapt this to work with what you have. This is just what I happen to have on hand. And like I said, I'm pretty proud of myself. So if you guys, I would extend this as a challenge, but to be honest, I don't know that many people on YouTube. So if you have a YouTube channel and you're watching this and you decide that you want to challenge yourself and see if you can do a whole face full of no powder products, link that video for me down below in the comments. I would love to watch somebody else do this, see what kind of options you guys have. I can't talk. See what makeup you guys use so that maybe I have more options for what I can pick out in store. See what you struggled on, what you didn't, how it ends up looking on you. Maybe you do have oily skin. I want to see how that looks on you. Maybe you like a more full coverage foundation. I want to see how that works. If you find some sort of a setting product that is not setting spray, that is also not setting powder, let me know. I racked my brain for forever trying to figure it out and I just couldn't do it. So if you like this kind of video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Comment down below. I love hearing from you guys and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.